Hey guys, I am here today making a soap that I have been thinking about for a couple weeks now. It is a honey almond soap, and it's going to have actual raw honey in it, as well as some finely ground almond meal and bee pollen. I've got my batter already all mixed up here. I'm going to add my fragrance to it, and then to half of the batter, I'm going to add, this is my bee pollen and my ground almonds and the raw honey. When I work with honey, it really thickens up the trace and it turns pretty thick pretty fast. So I'm going to fragrance the whole thing, and then half of this soap is going to get the almond, bee pollen, and honey, and the other half is going to stay uncolored but with a couple of yellow and orange swirls in it, and we're going to do a layer. So let me blend this in just real quick. We're good to go there. I have for the top of this, I want to show you these little cuties that I made. I made a soap clay, my regular Castile soap. I changed it just a little bit and added an ingredient to it before it was fully set. And it made some really nice modeling clay. I've got these super cute little bees that are going to go on the top of this soap, and some little spiral beehive looking shapes as well. So each bar, it should be an 8-bar batch. Each bar is going to get a bee and a beehive. So I'm really excited. Did that a couple weeks ago, and finally am getting to this recipe, so I'm pretty pumped. I'm going to split up my batter here. I'm not super worried about it being even because I kind of like uneven layers for this idea. I'm going to do the in the pot swirl with my uncolored batter. I'm going to go ahead and get that ready first so I can get that swirled, and then my other half that's going to have the other additives in it, I'm assuming it's going to get really thick really fast. So I kind of want to have this ready ahead of time, so I think it's too crazy. Just put a little bit of batter in each of these cups. Not too much. I could color my base white, but I actually like that it's going to be a natural kind of off-white color with the theme that we're going with here. So here's my little bottles of rice bran oil and mica. This one is sort of an orangey coral. A little squirt in there. Let's set these aside and do a little painting on the top. And this one is yellow mica. I'm going to stir these up with a spatula instead of with my stick blender. I'm slowly learning to kind of set the stick blender down. This doesn't need a heavy blending, so we're just going to get it incorporated. That's really the goal, and that's it. So that's stirred. This is stirred. It's looking a little more pink than orange, but we all know it's going to change as it's curing. It's still pretty orange though, honestly. I lied. Okay. Since we're just swirling 2 colors in today, I'm going to do 12 and 6 and a 3 and 9 on the clock. I'm going to do about half of it in each spot first, the other sides, and then add the rest to it. I've got, I think, 7 more recipes that I have already planned out that I want to do, but time is hard to come by in my life. I've got, my little baby girl who's almost 10 months old, and my private label business, which really takes up a whole lot of my time. When my baby gets older, it'll be a lot easier to just kind of soak, but she needs a lot of attention right now, and that's fine. Obviously, I love hanging out with her, but it's going to take me probably a couple months before I get all of these soap recipes created that I'm working on. And the rest here, we'll give it a quick little swirl after it's all in here. This fragrance smells really yummy. It is just a honey almond scent. I'm not sure what I'm going to name this soap yet. The because to me just calling it honey almond is like a little bland. I want it to be a little more creative sounding. So usually when it's done, I talk to Chris and I go, what does this make you think of? And he really is good at helping me come up with recipe names. So I'm just going to kind of give it a good swirl and then figure eight down the middle. And when it pours, the rest of the fanciness will happen on its own. Okay. Set this aside. Here's my other half of my batter. Now the almonds have that natural tan color. The bee pollen, very yellow. I'm assuming that's going to bleed a little bit with the color too, but I'm pretty excited about it. Bee pollen is probably the most healthy substance on earth. It definitely tastes kind of like, I'll eat some of it sometimes. It's just so good for you. Kind of tastes like you're eating dirt, or literally just kind of tastes like you're eating a flower because it is pollen. But it's so good for you. It helps with, there's just so many minerals and nutrients in it. It is obviously what feed the bees, so it's pretty good stuff. I think it would be a nice addition to the soap. It would be a really gentle exfoliation that you get from that. This I'm going to blend with my stick blender because it really needs it. All right, I'm going to set that up. Nice thick trace, as you can see. It's definitely a little thicker than my colored batter. I've got one of my homemade kind of tall, skinny molds here. I'm going to pour this layer in. All of it's going at the bottom here. The goal with this too, because there's texture to this bottom layer, when I'm cutting it downwards, it isn't going to drag through the untextured spot. It's just going to kind of drag through what already has texture. Thought about doing a layer of this, like to sandwich the swirls with this, but I thought, no, I'm just going to do this at the bottom. And I want to be able to do a little mica painting and swirling on top, and you can't really swirl too good with this stuff. Oh, it smells so good. Alright. I'm going to even this out as best as I can. This is just a cardboard box that I have lined with my freezer paper. A little bit more batter in here. Do that every drop. This mold is a little taller than my recipe ends up, so it definitely doesn't go all the way to the top, but that's perfectly fine with me. Okay. Going to add our swirl now. Whoops. My camera keeps tilting, so I apologize that I don't realize that until it's kind of too late. There it goes. Okay, stay. You know what? Good enough. I'm going to do back and forth with this pour to get some really pretty swirls. Oh yeah. Loving it already. You notice when I do an in the pot swirl, most of the color comes out at first, and the bottom, which ends up being the top of the bar, has less color in it. Which is fine. I'm not sure how to get the swirls to go deeper. I guess that when I'm pouring it into my pot, I can do it from a higher level so it sinks, but I kind of don't mind how it does without that. So I'll just soapy goodness out. Okay. Alrighty. Cut this out a little bit. Now, here comes the fun swirly part. I've got my black diluted mica and just rice bran oil. And I'm going to say, what is it, my yellow, not the orange, we want the yellow. I'm just going to do a couple of drops and then swirl, and then we're going to put our bees and our beehives on top. I'm doing the black and the yellow because of the actual stripes on the bees. I think that'll be pretty. A couple drops. I like having these in these little squirt bottles. It helps me keep me from going through my little squeezy pipettes too fast, or pipettes. I always said pipettes, and I heard somebody say pipettes the other day, and I'm like, that makes a lot more sense. I've been saying it wrong the whole time, but whatever. Those little squeezy things. I save on them when I have this, and I just kind of keep refilling it as I go. Alright, so I'm going to do just a tiny little swirl here. Just the figure eights back and forth through our little dots. I'm obviously not going down too deep because I don't want to mark up our textured layer. We just want to swirl the top a little bit. I feel the need to go back and forth, so yep, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I like that. That looks cool. Okay, perfect. Alright, time for little bees and little beehives. I gotta leave enough room because I'm cutting the ends off. Here's a little hive. I'm just gonna kind of alternate with them. A little bit closer. Run out of room. And these are soap too. So the whole thing is soap. Yay. Okay, bee time. I'm going to show you another little bee. Look how happy that little bee is. He's like, buzz, buzz. I'm going to be soap. Can't wait. And he's got a little stinger on his butt. How cute is that? So I'm going to stick the bees in next to their hives. 8 bees, 8 hives, 8 bars of soap. I don't even be able to see their little stingers, but whoops, oh well. Well, this guy's wing broke off. Guess what? A little bit of soapy glue. I'm just gonna kind of go bam like that. Stick him at the end. Ah! You fell in. There you. And stick his wings back on there. This is delicate, obviously, as you can see. Oh, this guy's messed up. And stick him on the end. I might not be able to sell that bar. No. What can you do, you know? Alright, stick the last of my bees in. Alright, so there you have it. There's our honey almond soap. With little beehives and little buzzy bumblebees. I'm really happy with it, except for that one little guy whose wings broke. But you know, that's life in this land of soaping, isn't it? I'm really pumped to cut this open. I'll definitely post that next. Leave it a day or two to set up. So, alright guys, see you in the future. Hello and welcome to the future. I unmolded my honey and almond soap this morning and cut the ends off, and it is looking so cool, so excited. I'll show you the top. This poor little guy with his wings broke off, that makes me sad, but the rest look pretty darn awesome if you ask me. I'm going to get to cutting. My baby is napping, so maybe a point where I pause and have to come back to cutting, but luckily I'm not in the middle of actually making the soap. That works out just fine. Now, to get in between all these little bees, I'm glad I have my wire cutter because I can actually weasel in between like their wings and get down to cut a straight angle from there, because otherwise it would be very tricky. So they kind of overlap at the top. It smells really good still too. No fading of the fragrance so far. Ooh, a little wiggly of my layer there, but I'm okay with that. That's our broken bee on the top. Really love the swirl. I am noticing the bee pollen got pretty dissolved in there, and when I slice through it, it kind of leaves like a little yellow pocket. You might get some yellow when you're using this soap, but it definitely won't hurt you. It'll make a really nice addition to the lather, in fact. And also with my orange and the stripes here, there's a little bit of speckling, so I guess stirring it by hand and not with a stick blender left a little bit that didn't get fully dispersed, but that's not going to hurt it either. Actually, I like the speckling effect, but that is why that happened. Whoops, it's on my edge. Because of my cardboard mold, the sides come out a little bit weird, but I'll trim these up once they're a little bit more cured. Nice. That's a nice one of the top. Look how cute that is. So cute. I am in love with these little soaps. Been trying to think of the name. I think I said yesterday that I was going to ask Chris for help. He's really good at naming things. I'm thinking something like Happy Hives, or I thought Busy Bee, but I'm like, that's too generic. There's probably something out there that exists with that name already. Weave in between the wings right here. So I don't want to cut anybody in half. There we go. Happy Hives, or even Honey Party, I kind of like. I don't know. I'm just coming up with stuff off the top of my head. If you have any ideas on what to name this, let me know. You have 4 to 6 weeks before it's cured. Been getting a good cure in 4 weeks lately, because so you can even see the hive there. Let me let that focus. Focus. But they've been curing really nicely after 4 weeks because of my water discount and my sodium lactate, which has been really convenient. More of the white part of the swirl happening here towards the middle of this loaf. Got another soap planned for today too, with some of my soapy clay creations. Finally getting around to these ideas I've been working on for a month or two. Whoops. Ooh, that's a nice swirl. A little pocket of honey there. Dab that up. Not sure how I made that happen, but oopsie daisy. Cute little bee and hive on top. So cute. I meant to talk a little yesterday about the powers of raw honey too. Honey you get at the grocery store sometimes, or mostly, comes from China, and they cannot actually verify that it is in fact honey. So sometimes you really don't know what you're getting when you buy grocery store honey. My dad is actually working on getting some beehives going. Right now I'm getting honey from his buddy, who is making all types of really good raw honey. This is the buckwheat honey. Flavor-wise, it's really earthy. It's got a lot more flavor than his clover honey, I think is the other one. I'm not remember. It's one of those like more typical, softer, sweeter flavors. But the buckwheat's got some taste going on. It's really sort of earthy and rich, like molassesy kind of tones to it. I really like it. But if you're you know, used to just more sweet honey. You want to go with something else, but it makes a really great addition to my honey products that I make. I really love the texture of my bottom layer. That's got the bee pollen, the honey, and the ground almonds. And none of it's going to be too scratchy as far as an exfoliation standpoint. And then the swirls are just gorgeous, I think. Really pumped about the way these are turning out. Alright, 3 more to go. Beautiful. I find when I use ingredients too, like honey or anything that's really dense, like it weighs more than the volume that it takes up, and it makes a really dense bar of soap too, which lasts longer, I think, and obviously weighs more. So pretty. Little bees are so cute. My mica painting on top turned out really nice too. I've never swirled with black on the top before. I'll show you a close-up here before I cut it. See if it'll focus and get you the good view of the swirl. There we go. And right in between here, I think that's really pretty. Alright, last one. You see they're a little crooked. But I'll even them up when they're a little bit firmer. If I plane or try to trim when they're this soft, I end up taking out way too much soap. So I wait till they're pretty hard and then clean them up a bit. Alright. Very pretty. That smells amazing. Good enough to eat. Sides even look cool. And this is our last little one here. You can see what I mean about the bee pollen? Like there's a little dot of it. It's, you know, it definitely blends yellow because it is pollen. So you're going to get a nice yellow lather, but that's so rich and it's good for you. You don't have to worry about that being a bad thing. So our last guy. Here's the other side. The ends came out really bright. I'm not sure why the swirl on the ends showed up a little stronger, but I'm not mad at it. Just a pretty guy. Give you a quick pan of all of them here. Aww. Pretty cool. There's my honey. It's kind of a cool shot. Alright guys, this is our honey and almond soap with raw honey, bee pollen, both of which are local, ground almonds, and my cute soapy clay bees and hives on top. Thank you for watching, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Thank you. Bye bye.